Why on earth are you still writing?
Because I'm a writer.
Well, I don't see the point if there's not going to be another production from the People's Theatre.
Nevertheless, I am writing.
It's a big fat waste of time, if you ask me.
I didn't.
There's a woman out here with a suitcase.
What's in it?
She wants to speak to the director.
All right, send her in.
Step this way.
So, this is the office of the People's Theatre.
This is it.
Uh-huh.
I came to see the author of those wonderful words
Which wonderful words?
about moving toward the beautiful distances.
Now, those are Mr. Willis's wonderful words.
Could I see him?
He's not in yet. Just back from California. Won't be in the office until a bit later today.
He has been to California? He has just ridden across this country?
Yes, long trip. Took him several days. He was very cross over the phone.
Oh, no, I think you're mistaken.
Anything you'd care to see me about?
I could see him a little later, couldn't I?
Yes, if it's important. Of course, he will be very busy.
It is important. At least, yes, it is important.
Very well, later this morning.
That's all right. I will stand on the street and watch the people.
What did you say?
The people. It's so wonderful to see them, so many of them. Don't you often just stand and watch them?
No, madam, not very often. I'm too busy writing plays about them. It is my trade. Though the world for the most part will pay no attention, my lightnings do not scorch.
They said that about Keane, didn't they? That seeing him act was like reading Shakespeare by flashes of lightning. Yes. Yes, that's what theater must be. Do you help run this theater?
I am Oscar Tripp, Associate Director of the People's Theatre.
Oscar? What a wonderful name. And your last name, 1 P or 2?
2?
I knew it. The same number of letters
I beg your pardon?
as the other Oscar. You know. So, you are also a writer. With a name like that, you couldn't be anything else.
Yes, I am also a writer. And an actor, a set painter, and a janitor. There's nothing I don't do. We all do everything.
Yes, I see. What a great thing for you. Does Mr. Willis work in this room?
That is his desk.
It must be a wonderful thing for you to work in the same room with him.
I don't know. Maybe it's a wonderful thing for him to work in the same room with me.
I will come back later.
Oh, you can just leave that if you're not going to be using it in the meanwhile.
Thank you. I can see that you are a kind man.
That is not the general opinion.
I wonder why it is that the general opinion is so often wrong.
Oh, come this way. There's a very nice place where you can watch the people right in there, or you could just wait in the office.
Thank you.
Well,
I don't quite understand that woman.
you know, if this company can't go on, I should know it. I could get a job with a bigger company. Can it go on?
I don't see how it can, but many's the time I didn't see how it could, and it did. Doubtless it will go on, and we will see times so much worse than this that we will say, the good old days of 1931.
Yes, but can it pay salaries?
Oh, no, I think not. Unheard of. But we must work because we love our work.
We must eat because we love our food.
We should know soon, one way or the other. Ed always seems to come up with something to keep us going. Remember back in 26, we were stony broke.
Yeah, for a change.
He came up with the idea of taking the play into Central Park, doing some scenes from it, handing out a few free tickets.
I remember. You got a lot of people coming out to see us.
He's never short of ideas, I'll give him that.
Yeah, amazing the things he comes up with. I wonder where he gets them from.
Probably from when he was a kid. His old man was always in the clink, and he had to somehow go down and get him out and get him home. I imagine he had to tell a lot of ingenious lies.
I remember hearing stuff about him when he was young. Something about his being in jail.
Oh, he got into jail because he once tried to save an old woman from a beating in jail when he was trying to get his father out. Guard claimed he was interfering, obstructing justice, he said. Ed's never forgotten the things he saw in that jail.
Yeah, there were a lot of stories about Ed in those days. He could never stand it when he thought somebody was being treated unfairly. I suppose that's where he gets his passion for justice, though he does overdo it sometimes.
Oh, no. That's what makes his work so powerful. He's got a strong, admirable sympathy for the underdog.
Even when the underdog deserves to be an underdog.
Ed's not here yet?
Not yet. He did call, though.
Did he get any money, Oscar?
Doesn't look like it. He was very snappish over the phone.
Oh, no. Why would they lure him all the way out there if they weren't going to give him any money? That was the whole point, I thought. They were impressed by his play 2 years ago, impressed enough to give him a grant to continue our theater. I even thought they were going to make Beautiful Distances into a talkie.
Now, the movies have taken off now that they can talk. And where are they going for ideas? To the playwrights, writing for the stage. A lot of opportunity there.
You know, maybe I ought to go out there and work in movies. If this company shuts down, that's exactly what I'm going to do, sure enough.
But if Ed doesn't get any money...
If he doesn't get anything, I wouldn't be surprised if he does decide to give the whole thing up for good this time.
I don't want to give it up. There must be something we can do.
None of us wants to give it up. Unfortunately, it's not what we want, it's what the people want. And it seems there aren't enough of them who want us.
You know, with all the work I do around here, I ought to be able to work for a bigger company and who knows, maybe even a bigger salary elsewhere. And I wouldn't have to build sets, search for costumes, write ads, handle all the technical details, and oh yes, act.
You know, it's just not fair. Just because we don't bring in heaps of money, our work is considered worthless by the business world.
Well, things are tough all over now. There's red lines everywhere. People don't have time or money to spend on such luxuries as plays.
Well, now's the time they need them the most.
Try telling them that.
Just a little bit of money is all we need. We must be doing something wrong if we can't even get that little bit.
I hear that, but in my opinion, we've been doing everything right.
It's always been this way. Unless we make the theater a business, there's never enough money. And the companies that have made it a business have made it a big business, which means they always stick to the tried and true. The musicals, the spectacles, the farces that cater to everyone's lowest taste. Can't lose any of that box office. Maybe we're wrong to try to make a living out of it. Maybe we should just dress in sackcloth and ashes and go from town to town like the medieval folk did, doing stupid farces.
Well, now be fair. There's a place for pure and impure entertainment, too. We need to make them laugh more, instead of always feeding them these abstract ideas about life that they don't understand, and if they do understand, they don't care about.
Right. Especially now. They need to escape from the misery of their lives. You've always been a bit, how shall I put this, hoity-toity about such low forms of entertainment, Oscar?
So now you're the expert on what people need. Well, you're wrong. We need to open people's minds, make them want to reach higher, to express themselves in ways that are meaningful to them.
Yes, I see what you mean. People don't know how to express what's inside them, and there's so much inside them if they could only get it out. That's what Ed's always said. If they can't get it out, it'll destroy them.
We need to give them a container to put it in, and that container will shape them into a thing of beauty. We need to give them beautiful, inspiring words, words full of heart and truth, words that move.
We need another beautiful Distances. Do you remember just 2 years ago, the ferment, how they clamored for tickets once the newspapers got a hold of it and all the rave reviews came in? There was even talk of a Broadway production. I really thought we had made it and we were on our way.
Yeah, until the good, pious, church-going people laid into us.
Every pulpit in town damned us to hell, all because we dared to suggest that this great, God-fearing nation was not Eden.
Boy, that put the kibosh on us for sure. And after that, forget it. We were done. We were the devil incarnate, consigned to oblivion. No producer would touch us. They were too afraid of offending public opinion.
Too afraid of losing their sponsors, don't you mean?
That would have blown over in time if it hadn't been for the finishing blow, this damn depression.
Which they blamed on us, by the way.
Post hoc, ergo propter hoc.
Huh?
After this, therefore on account of this.
People want comedy now, more than ever. We can tell the truth with comedy. People will accept it if they can laugh about it.
Gild the philosophic pill, eh?
Exactly. That's the only way they'll take it in. So we need to stick to the old-fashioned stuff. You know, mistaken identity, the pie in the face, finger in the eye. People love that. Contrary to what you and Ed think. And it brings in the money.
Ed needs to get off of his high horse. He needs to see that that's what the people want and to give them what they want. And then occasionally we could do something more edgy like he's always promoting. The fault with Ed is that he's too concerned with lofty principles and not enough with actual human behavior. It's the follies and the foibles that hook the people. Everyone loves to see a drunk on stage, for instance, and they're right. It's funny.
Mud instead of beauty.
Well, the people is a great beast, as someone once said.
Or a many-headed hydra.
That's why we need to educate them, raise them up.
Now you're sounding just like Ed, and that's just where we're going wrong.
Well, Ed's right in a lot of ways. It's just that he doesn't take it far enough. There's a certain lack of boldness in his approach. Good morning.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, Ed.
Here we go again. Oscar with his head in the clouds, Roger with his head in the gutter, Tom with his head in his pocket. I'll tell you where the fault is. Here. Just this. Everybody chasing his own tail round and round, unable to see beyond his own limited vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
I'll tell you where the fault is. Here, this. Our fearless leader back from a long trip, and the first golden words that fall from his lips are words of censure for his loyal subordinates.
Sure is good to see you, Ed. I just hope the news I'm hearing isn't true.
If it's bad, it's true.
Oh, Ed, how are you?
Rot I hate sleeping cars. I always catch cold.
Well, did you have any luck? You must be exhausted.
Same old story. You have to have money to get money. They say we should do vaudeville type things, get the whole family into the theater.
That's ridiculous. Everyone knows that vaudeville is dead.
One guy even said we should do burlesque. That'd get them pouring in. We'd sell tickets like crazy and make heaps of money. Burlesque.
Burlesque. They want us to do burlesque?
Well, did you tell them, Ed, what we're trying to do? Here you go.
I said some things were more important than money.
That must have gotten a laugh.
I told them we were trying to do work that had to be done, but that unfortunately in this country couldn't be done without money. Money drives everything. Our poor theater is an orphan and doomed to remain one.
But did you put it to them in a friendly way? You can be a bit,
I think the word you're looking for is
preach.
arrogance.
Smug.
Charming.
I told you should have brought Sara along to sweet talk them, to smooth over your more uneven points, make them more amenable to your decidedly unconventional ideas.
I told them the truth, that people are drowning under a sea of materialism, that their true spirit is being stifled, starved.
He preached to them.
Yeah.
No.
They said that
Nothing will come from nothing.
in effect.
Oh, Ed, they were so impressed with your play, I thought they would see the People's Theater as a source for more talkies. It sounded like they wanted a partnership between the stage and the movies.
Oh yes, of course they do. But only if it doesn't hurt the bottom line. Now with things being so tight, they imply they couldn't afford to fund anything that didn't produce a good return. As if we hadn't been working without any return for years. As if we weren't worth the candle.
Wisdom crieth in the streets.
So, are we gonna fold?
Seems to me we might as well. I don't see how we can go on without money, without audiences.
You talk as though we'd never had any successes. But just the other night, I talked to a woman from the Bronx who saw our last show and was thrilled. Of course, she said she had to put the program under the bed so her husband wouldn't know she'd been to the theater. What you don't understand is there are people out there who still don't see the theater as anything more than frivolous entertainment.
Yeah, if you'd been a real success, you'd have gotten that woman's husband down to the theater with her.
Of course, it was my performance that got us under the bed.
I was definitely told that it was my last words themselves that got us under the bed.
You see, all you can think about is your own egos. Me, me, me. Are we serious artists or just a bunch of ham actors?
Let me say this. Since this depression hit, we've been shying away from anything serious. We've been afraid to tell the truth. They're staying away because we're scaring them off.
On the contrary, we've been too damn serious. A lighter touch, that's what the People's Theater needs. You're as heavy as mud. Try and do this along more frivolous lines, eh?
Yes, it should be more carelessly done, and then it would be more perfectly done. It should be less definite, and you would have more certainty. You should not know what it is you want, and then you'll find what you are after.
Roger, you're just bumping gums.
We had as many patrons as we had people telling us what to do.
Let me say this. My point
Now
is
the philosopher and critic will speak.
we need to take a more serious approach because whether they know it or not, the people need to be
On
awakened
the
to the
contrary,
truth.
we've been too
Yes.
damn serious.
Yes.
I agree with you,
realities
little
of their
point.
daily
No.
But you're missing the big picture. How are you going to take anyone's...
Stop! Wait! All this bickering will get us nowhere!
Come in!
Is this the office of the People's Theater?
Now this is a lunatic asylum.
Oh, you're joking. You know, I wondered about that, whether you would joke here. I thought you would.
You see? Exactly my point. What we need are more jokes now. What the people want is comedy. And truth to tell, comedy is not the frivolous thing you think it is, Ed.
That's right. Why to do comedy really well, you have to...
I get it. Dying is easy, comedy is hard.
Well, it's true.
I've come to see the director. I wanted to tell him that.
So many people are telling me so many things. Could you tell yours a little later?
Yeah, of course. There must be so many important things people have to tell you.
You don't know the half of it. You can wait in the other office.
Thank you, sir.
Speaking for the actors, I just want to say right
For the
now...
writers, a more serious approach.
A lighter touch.
Speaking for the truth.
What is the truth? The truth. It comes in so many forms. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference between truth and delusion.
Hello, People's Theater.
You've also come to tell us something about this company?
Yes.
There's a number ahead of you. Could you wait your turn? I'll be glad to see you as soon as I can. There in the other office?
But,
All right, I'll tell him. The Moritz Lighting Company. They want to be paid. Today. There are all the rest of the bills that are piled up. I didn't have the heart to look at them. It's too depressing.
We could pay our bills if we weren't afraid to be more serious.
We could pay our bills if we were not afraid to be lighthearted.
Sure, give the sillier sort of people the things they love. A murder, a plot, a boy in petticoats, a tale of wantonness.
Sure, why not?
now and then, yes, why not? It just means that there's more than one way to skin a cat, or to tell the truth. Isn't that what Ed was just saying?
We lack form in our work, and by form I do not mean what you think I mean. I mean that particular significance of the insignificant, which is the fundamental...
What?
For God's sake, Oscar, the people are starving for bread and you want to give them stone.
Well, to be or not to be? I guess it's up to you, Ed.
Yeah, Ed, it's up to you.
Well, what would we be going on for? To move a few more people like the dear ones in the other office? Seems to me we'd best serve society by shutting our doors.
You know that's not true, Ed.
Well, precisely what do? Aside from getting under the bed in the Bronx, every now and then, yes, we hit a nerve. We awaken people to something really important. A few people truly hear us, but then it fizzles out and nothing changes. What it comes down to is this: we're simply too much ahead of our time. People don't want to hear us. They're not ready to hear the truth.
Oh, Ed, we had another hope that we would express ourselves so simply and so truly that we would be expressing the people.
Yes, expressing what is hidden, bringing out what is within them, showing them how to penetrate the silence that envelops our histories, our tragedies, bringing it out into the light of day, removing the obstacles that make it impossible for them to be all that they can be. Oh, to inspire them with such powerful words and emotions that they will recognize the truth and yearn toward it.
Yes, catharsis, just what the Greeks were after. To inspire fear and pity so that they can heal themselves. And who knows, maybe heal society as well. And no matter what anyone says, that is what the people really want, whether they know it or not.
The people. I looked at them all the way across this continent. I got so tired looking at them on the farms and the towns and the cities. They're like toys that you wind up and they run for a little while and then they topple over. The people don't want to be expressed. The longer I looked, the more ridiculous it seemed to me that we were giving our lives to the people's theater. The people don't want a theater.
This is a long way off from how you felt a year ago, Ed. You had a vision. You had a wonderful vision. You still have that vision. I know you do.
Yes, I still have that vision. But one thing came home to me on this trip across the country. It's impossible to realize a vision if you have to scrabble merely to survive. It's easy to believe the human race is beautiful when no human beings are around.
The trouble with doing something for your fellow man is that you gotta interact with him while you're doing it.
Humanity's great. It's people that are revolting.
You know, that's not fair. I mean, we care. I'll say that for us. Even Oscar cares, or he wouldn't work the way he has. But what does our caring come to? It doesn't connect up with anything. God knows it doesn't seem to be making anything very beautiful of us. Something rather pathetic about us.
Or are we merely being ridiculous?
Well, we're all in the right. You know, it doesn't matter whether we do comedy or tragedy or farce or musical reviews. What matters is illuminating human experience. There are things that everyone knows, has always known, but have forgotten. Old wine in new bottles. This is what every age, every generation requires. To hear these ancient, buried, and yet sometimes uncomfortable truths in a language they understand. A language that speaks to them with urgency, that calls forth a beauty in their own soul.
Yes. What you say sounds very pretty. I'm not unmoved by it, but Ed, you've got to be realistic. You've got to start where the people are and gently nudge them upward. And where they are now is down in the basement. And that's where we got to go.
Gosh, there are some things I cannot bear to hear. That does it. I don't see how we can go on. When my own people start jettisoning their principles and are willing to just give in to the mob, there's no point at all in trying to stay afloat. Let's face it, we're a failure and we might as well admit it. We've been trying, how long has it been now? 10 years? To try to make something beautiful and powerful enough to change things, at least in our small corner of the world. Well, I give up. I've had it. I'm finished.
No, Ed, you can't be finished. Look at what you've started. Look at what they've said about our work, your work, and not just the critics. Remember Fire in Manhattan in 22?
The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, where all those poor women were killed because they locked all the doors and exits.
What they said about your play, how it was the most significant and moving piece of theater in decades? One critic said that your burning passion for justice was the galvanizing force for reform.
And the families of those women who died wrote letters to you, grateful letters, thanking you for pointing out the injustices that they suffered. Now that was a success.
That was then. This is now. Now we're in the midst of a worldwide depression where social justice must bow to mere survival. Maybe our time has passed and we have to wait. Who knows how long for a revival of the true human spirit.
No, Ed, we can't just wait. We can't say it's not our fault and just do nothing.
Well, there's nothing to do. How can we do anything if nobody is listening?
You know what, Ed, I want to read you something. We are living now. We shall not be living long. No one can tell us we shall live again. This is our little while. This is our chance. And we take it like a child who comes from a dark room to which he must return, comes from one sunny afternoon to a lovely hillside, and finding a hole, crawls in there till after the sun is set. I want that child to know the sun is shining upon the flowers and the grass. I want him to know it before he has to go back to that room in the dark. I wish I had pipes to call him to the hilltop of beautiful distances. I, myself, could see further if he were seeing at all. Perhaps I can call you, who have dreamed and dreaming know and knowing care. Move from the things that hold you. If you move, others will move. Come, now, before the sun goes down. You wrote that, Ed.
Yes, I wrote that. Wanna know why I wrote that? I wrote it because I was sore at Oscar and I wanted to write something to make him feel ashamed of himself.
No, that's not true. I don't believe that's true. Maybe you think that's why you wrote it, but that's not the reason. You wrote it because it's the living truth. And it moved in you, and you had to say it.
Who are you? I feel I'm hearing an echo of my own heart.
I am one of the people. I live a long way off. I heard that call, and I had to come. Tell me, your name? They call you Ed. It's Edmund, isn't it?
Yes?
Yes, I knew it. The same name
I don't understand.
as Edmund Keane.
I'm here too. I'm from Georgia. I heard about your theater company and I didn't want to stay at school any longer. I said to myself, I want something different and bigger. Something more like this. I heard about your not being able to sell tickets to your plays. Just because lots of people don't want nothing that's different and bigger. And I thought to myself, I'll sell the tickets. I'll go and sell them in the streets. And I got so excited that I didn't even wait for the dance. There was a dance that night and I had my girl too.
He didn't even wait for the dance.
The idealists are calling on the intellectuals.
And what did you leave, my friend?
My oyster bed. I come from the Cape. Been doing the same thing my whole life, and my father before me and my uncles and cousins. I even had a chance to go in on an oyster bed, and I was all set to do it when I read something about your play in an old newspaper. Some woman had left it behind in an automobile, and I don't generally bother reading the newspapers, but you find yourself with a lot of time when you're out in the boats. And I thought to myself, well, I'm nothing but an oyster myself. Everybody thought I was crazy, but I decided to leave that oyster bed and come to life.
You wanted the world to be your oyster bed.
You know, I reckon you're right.
But what did you come here for?
Oh, for the rest of it.
The rest of what?
For the rest of what you've got. Yeah, that's right. We've come for the rest of what you've got.
This is awkward for Ed.
Give it to us.
Give what to you?
The rest of it.
I haven't got anything more to give.
But you made us think you had. You led us to believe you had.
And you have. If you hadn't more to give, you couldn't have given that.
Very awkward.
Oscar.
You said, I call on you, you who have dreamed and dream and know and care.
That's the very thing I read, and it stopped me cold.
Well, 3 of us are here, from the south and the east and the west. We've come because you made us want something we didn't have. Want it so much, we had to move to where we thought was toward it before the sun goes down.
We thought people here had life, something different and bigger. We wanted to be in on it.
We wanted to come to life.
Perhaps we'd better go. Or Ed.
We should shut up, Oscar.
I know you will give it to us.
Give what to you?
What you have for the people. What you made us know we need.
You shouldn't have called personally. You should have sent in your needs by mail.
Oscar, could you try and act as if you had a soul?
I think he really has. At least he's got a heart. It's only that he feels he must be witty. But you're not going to just let us leave again, are you? He gave up his oyster bed. This boy didn't even wait for the dance. And me, I gave up my tombstone. Yes, tombstone. It had always been a saying in our family, he won't even have a stone to mark his grave. They said it so much and so solemnly that I thought it meant something. I sew, plain sewing, but I've often said to myself, well, at least I'll have a stone to mark my grave. And then one day there was a man from the East who'd been making speeches to the miners. I live in a town in Idaho, and he had seen your play about 2 years ago, and he told me about it. So I got a copy of it, and when my work was done at night, I would read your wonderful words. They're like a spring. If you've lived in a dry country, you'll know what I mean. And they made me understand that my tombstone was as dead as a tombstone. So I had to have something to take its place.
Listen to her, Ed.
And I'm staying too. I don't want to go back. I want to be here where things are bigger and more exciting. But I better telegraph my father first. You see, the folks, they don't know I'm here. I just came. They won't like it, but I'm staying.
He didn't even wait for the dance.
I'll be happy to sell the tickets, and I'll stop people in the street and tell them why I'm selling them.
You can't do that, you'd be arrested.
Oh, let him sell them. What's the difference with the law if you've got the right idea?
The right idea's got us in enough trouble already.
There's something sure about an oyster bed.
You come with us and have a drink. There's something sure about that, too.
He could have had a drink at home. There's more to life than drinks and oysters. He wants more than that, don't you?
I reckon I do. I've been downright dull lately, even mean to people, and I don't know why. But now I think, there's more to life than oystering.
Maybe you wanted to find the pearl in the oyster.
I reckon I did. That's what I did want. I never thought much about what I wanted. Just did what people thought I ought to do. Let things just go along.
I am sorry for you.
Why?
Because you have the brain to say those beautiful things, but not the spirit to believe them. I couldn't say them, and yet I've got something you haven't got.
And what's that?
I know that everything you said was true. I don't know why I'm disappointed. I suppose it's not fair to expect you to be as big as the truth you saw. Why would I think you should be?
I'm sorry. I suppose now you'll regret your tombstone.
No. It was wonderful to ride across this country and see all the people. The train moving along seemed to move something in me. I had thoughts not like I'd ever had before. Your words, like a spring breaking through the dry country of my mind. And I saw that my tombstone wasn't the thing that mattered. I saw that. And seeing. There was a prairie, dark trees off at the edge. Against the trees, a little house and a big barn. A flat piece of land, fenced in. Horses waiting to get in the barn. Cows standing around a pump. Country so still it seemed dead. The trees, like hopes that had been given up. The graveyards on hills, they come so fast. I noticed them first because of my tombstone, but then I got to thinking about the people. People who spent their whole lives right near the places where they are now. There's something in the thought of them, like the cows standing around the pump. So still, so patient. Kinda hurts. And their pleasures, flat field, fenced in. Your great words carried me to other great words. I thought of Lincoln and what he said about a few of the dead. I said it over and over. I said, the truth that flows from our lives as water flows from the rocks. And then I knew what that truth was. Let us here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. I mean all of them. Let life become what it may become, so beautiful that everything that is back of us is worth everything it cost.
Yes. You understand. Great words lead us to other great words, a chain reaction that could change the world.
You madam are full of poetry. You're one of us. Maybe you should write for us.
It would be beautiful to write for the theater.
Hey, you could write a play about the three of us, traveling here from all across the country. Now we made a great show with great ideas, and people will want to see it. We could do that, us three.
Now that's a pearl of an idea.
Yes, it is. A pearl of an idea.
A pearl. I'm a fool. I've been blind. I was about to throw a pearl away richer than all his tribe. I've been so wrapped up in my own tragedy that I haven't given a thought to yours, my faithful few, who struggled with me, who believed in me, in us. Thought I'd lost my vision, but this wonderful woman has given it back to me.
Oh, Ed, there's so much to do. It's such a splendid thing, these people coming here. Let's go on. Let's do it.
I've got... Yeah, I'm sorry for butting in, but I've got to know. If this company really isn't going to stop...
Stop? This company can't stop.
Can't stop? Last I heard it couldn't do anything else.
That was long ago.
But Ed, how are we going to keep going?
Ed's got a vision of a new play. Don't you, Ed?
I see. I'm glad, but I've got to be sure. This company is going to go on. That's the truth.
The truth. The truth that opens from our lives as water opens from the rocks.
Nobody really needs a tombstone.
Stone. Ed, I think you should look at this. It just came by airmail today.
What is it?
Seems to be from the Desert Stone Foundation in California.
The Desert Stone Foundation. Oh, Ed.
No.
They've sent a check! A check!
Well, how much is it for?
It's for everything I asked for.
Oh, my goodness.
You mean we may actually get decent pay for once?
Yes, it's in the grant that we get better pay.
Ed, there's a letter. What does it say?
Here, you read it.
Okay. Dear Mr. Willis, after a thorough investigation of your theater company and all its members, and intense and prolonged discussions of our board of directors, we have decided to award you this grant to continue the work you have embarked upon. I must say that initially there was considerable differences of opinion among us as to whether, in the current financial climate, you were justified in awarding your company such a large sum of money. To be absolutely candid with you, Some of our members were not convinced that theater was a worthwhile object of our charity.
See that same thing over again.
But as I have said, our discussions were intense, and some of our members were passionate in their advocacy of theater and the repository of all human values. As an institution devoted to the preservation of human life, it is our responsibility to encourage and support those individuals and organizations that investigation shows to be devoted to the same aims and that are struggling to meet them. Your company has been found to be a superb example of theater that enriches the human spirit.
Enriches the human spirit.
As such, it is an inspiration in all times, but especially in these times. Happily, all of our members were brought to this unanimous conclusion. We are thus thrilled to be able to make this award to the People's Theater in the firm belief that you will continue on the path you have marked out and will continue to enrich the human spirit.
Yes!
Enrich the human spirit.
Sincerely yours, Robert J. Hapsworth, President of the Desert Stone Foundation.
So long it took.
I've got a bottle of cognac in here I've been saving since 1919.
Whoa.
Just waiting for the right occasion. And this is it. Everybody grab a cup.
Here we go. I haven't seen this in a long time.
The cups are right over there. One, two. Okay, no problem. Me too.
Here's to all of us who've worked together and fought together, but who've always had the passion and the courage to believe in what we do and in each other. And to new friends from afar who've told us we've been right all along and are right to do what we do. To the People's Theater.
The
People's Theater.
Water opening from the rocks,